A doubleheader of NBA playoff action as well on your Friday. What could be better in May than this much postseason action? We take an early look here on the early line to the doubleheader of game threes that we have tonight in the NBA postseason. We change venue for the first time. First up in Indianapolis between the Pacers and the New York Knicks. Then we go to Minneapolis where the T-Wolves head back home with a 2-0 series lead over the Denver Nuggets. But we start in Indy. Of course, the story of this game, the banged-up New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson missed the entirety of the second quarter of game number 2, did return in the second half. OG Anunoby leaves the third quarter early after a masterful performance to begin. A left hamstring injury. He is out tonight for game number 3. And as Dr. Donnie told you yesterday, hamstring injuries don't all of a sudden become better. He might be have his status a little bit uncertain for the remainder of this series. But without OG Anunoby tonight and Indiana returning home to Indy, the Pacers now a 7-point home favorite in that 0-2 hole, hoping to get their first victory of this set in game number 3.
Yeah, and I'm buying into the Pacers, even at a -7 right now, because the status of Jalen Brunson, that is the key here. If he's not going to be 100% and he's ineffective, what I mean by that is he's usually getting his shot whenever he wants it, Ben, 25 plus a game. Let's just say that dials it back to 15 or 16 where he's more of a facilitator tonight. That's going to kill this team. And also, OG Anunoby, fresh off of a game where he was absolutely dominant coming into his own here in the playoffs, is now not going to be around not only for game 3, game 4, even at least game 5 at this point. So you're going to have to survive and advance probably without him. Now, granted, you still have that 2-0 series lead, and that's what's most important. Even if they lose both games here on the road, you still come back to the Garden, 3-game series. 2 of the games will be on your home court advantage. You should still be able to take care of business here. But having said that, we're not worried about taking care of business, Ben, in game 6 and game 7. We're worried about game number 3 tonight. This should be a stone-cold Pacers win, even though if you go to the FanDuel Sportsbook and see the percentage of bets on the spread, 7 out of 10 tickets still coming in on the Knicks, because most people looking at that line, that's ridiculous. As long as Brunson plays, they'll be fine. They'll be able to cover. Maybe so, but I don't think we're getting 100% Brunson, who's questionable for this game. So clearly, that injury might be a part of this game tonight. I think the Pacers win this handily.
Yeah, so it's a 7-point number in favor of Indiana. That line has ballooned. It was 5.5 for the opener of game number 3 with the status uncertain with OG Anunoby, and has worked even more. At this moment, Jalen Brunson does not have a points prop available on the FanDuel Sportsbook as I see it. Just our guy Tay, Isaiah Hartenstein, Josh Hart, and Miles McBride, otherwise known as Deuce. That is very intriguing in terms of this Friday morning update for game number 3 in Indy. A full-blown breakdown in terms of what the Knicks are going to have to do without OG and maybe a banged-up Brunson with CP, the franchise, later in this second hour and, of course, into hour number 3. But the nightcap tonight in the Twin Cities, the Timberwolves shocked the Denver Nuggets in each of the 2 games at altitude to start this series, winning outright as an underdog in game 1 and then handily by 20-plus in game number 2. It's game number 3 tonight in Minneapolis. It is a must-win game for Denver despite being a 4.5-point underdog on the road against Minnesota. Denver needs it. Do they get it?
And here's what you have to worry about, because there's always caveats here. We talk about, like, for myself, the Pacers. If Brunson is even a little bit hobbled, I think they get pounded tonight. But we don't know if he's going to be hobbled or not, or what that actually means. He played in the last game. Jamal Murray, who did play in the last game, still questionable for this game with that calf injury. Now, one thing that might have benefited you here, if you are looking at the Nuggets, is this extended layoff out of nowhere between games 2 and 3. You basically got the entire week off to rest that calf injury and also sort of circle around, huddle up, and say, all right, we didn't play our best basketball at home. Let's see if we can rally the horses here in Minnesota. But also take a look at some of the betting statistics from FanDuel. Only 55% of the tickets here currently coming in on the Minnesota Timberwolves. So a lot of belief here that the Denver Nuggets aren't done. And quite frankly, you don't have to win this game. You just have to cover. We'll see where that line gets. Sitting at 4.5 now, I think that makes some sense. But I need to know a little bit more on the status of Jamal Murray before you blindly fire, for me at least, on the Nuggets.
He was fined $100,000 for throwing a heating pack at a referee in game number 2. but not suspended. So it's the injury availability that is more at question than, of course, anything off the court or on the court in that second game. It is a game that Denver, the reigning NBA champs, must have tonight, and it's a 4.5-point spread in favor of Minnesota.